Hi, my name is John Capobianco, and today we're going to be exploring the world of multimodal artificial intelligence. So AI really was democratized with the text, words and prompts and sentences in human language to get text back. Well, multimodal AI allows us to send things like images or audio or other forms of input that we can have AI and analyze or actually comprehend and understand the image or the audio that we've sent it. It can also, in return, generate images, but also generate audio. So there's a bit of a mesh here of text and audio and image to or from text and audio and image. What I thought I would do is try to really democratize this capability and give you a starting point for your artificial intelligence in the form of a co-pilot, an assistant, a second set of eyes, if you will, with an expert knowledge base. So where you could easily just press print screen or run the snipping tool and draw the image you want to capture. And we're going to monitor the folder where these screenshots are saved. Once a new image appears, we're going to send the image to get AI's analysis with a prompt. And then we're also going to transform the text output from the AI analysis into a human audio format using artificial intelligence text to speech. Second, what I previously described uses ChatGPT. So you will need an API key, and this will cost a few cents, pennies, to process the image as well as the audio. I've decided to really try to democratize this, and in GitHub, I have a main branch, which is the ChatGPT implementation, and I have what's known as an Ollama branch. So you can clone the repository and change branches and use Ollama 1 locally, so it doesn't use any cloud services, and 2 for free. Now, to achieve the text-to-speech, I use Google Text-to-Speech in this free implementation. Either or enables you to press print screen or grab a screen snag and hear the audio analysis of that image in just a few seconds. So I'm going to do some demonstrations. We're going to look at the code and how this is done. And hopefully you can clone this repository and enhance your productivity with an AI assistant that's looking over your shoulder. Press print screen, get AI's opinion about what was on your screen at any given time. I'm going to do some examples of network engineering and programmability and writing Python code and using this, as well as some generic image examples, okay? I think this could be used universally at any age, at any stage of your development. Whatever it is you're learning, if you're reading PDFs online, this image recognition can recognize text. So it's like a study guide. It's a study buddy, pair programming with this artificial intelligence entity that we're going to feed images to get its interpretation of those images. Let's take a look a little deeper at this. All right, so let's take a look at this from a really high level, right? This is from September of 2023. So it's, not cutting edge, but this capability was a little bit slept on. And I don't think people quite realize what it really means and the impact it has. That ChatGPT can now see, hear, and speak. So it talks about the different modalities of ChatGPT here, and they sort of have this example of sending in an image and asking how to get, fix this bicycle part. So ChatGPT Vision was rolled into GPT 4.0 and 4.0 Mini and 4 Turbo. These models now have vision capabilities. So recently, this was changed, where now you can just call the API or upload an image if you're using the GUI, and it can recognize those images without having to call a separate model. So there's some great documentation about this, and frequently asked questions. And I'm going to show you my current base cost. So just in preparation for this video, right, call it I'm at 10 cents. Okay? And you can see the different breakdown between the audio models to do the audio text-to-speech and the GPT 4.0 models to do the image recognition. Now the text-to-speech models, again, there's some great documentation on this, and there are some different voices, and we're going to maybe swap one out during this video just to show you. I'm using Alloy as a default voice. So how do we get started? You're going to go to my GitHub repository, Automate Your Network /ScreenSpeak, and ignore this push. I'm intentionally keeping 2 branches, and we'll talk about that. But we go to code, copy to clipboard, and then in your Ubuntu or in Windows or possibly on Mac, I haven't tried it on Mac, you're going to git clone and paste in that copied link. Okay, so now we're going to have a folder called ScreenSpeak. And if you type code period, we're going to launch the code. Now, I want to point out that we're going to need a Python virtual environment to run this code, but I've made a requirements.txt file that you should be able to create a virtual environment and then pip install -r requirements.txt, and it will install everything required to run this code in the virtual environment. So let me activate my virtual environment, which I just call screen bin activate, and go back into my git cloned folder. Now in the bottom here you can see I'm on main. If you're on main, this means you're using the ChatGPT implementation, and if we go to the README, it has everything you need to do here. So we've already created the virtual environment and pip installed everything, and we're ready to run our code. One thing you're going to need to do is create a .env file in the same root folder where screenspeak.py is, right? So you're going to make a folder that has this OpenAI key. I'm going to show you what it looks like here in the code. One second. There isn't reference to the key here. OpenAI key. So if we find this in the code, it's actually referenced twice, and it's going to get that key from your environment variable file. So make a .env file with OpenAI key equals and your key from OpenAI. Now that is using the cloud service, and it does cost a bit of money. If you want to use the free implementation, you're going to change repositories to Ollama or branches, and Ollama is free and does not require the .env file. Now you need to have Ollama downloaded and installed locally, so download for Linux or Windows or Mac, and as soon as Ollama is listening, you're going to pull a model called Llava that is a multimodal model that can recognize images. Depending on your system, there's all the way up to 34 billion parameters. If you have a 4090, I would recommend the 34 billion parameter. If you have an older system, the 7 billion or 13 billion parameter model should work just fine. So we have Llava here. Here's the paper, Large Language and Vision Assistant, and everything you'd want to know about this. It's open source, end-to-end trained large multimodal model that connects a vision encoder and LLM for general purpose visual and language understanding. Okay? Now, in the free implementation, we also need the voice capability, and I've decided to use Google Text-to-Speech, which we can pip install. Google Text-to-Speech, it's one of the requirements files, and we can get text to Google Speech. Now, there are multiple languages and stuff. I've just defaulted to English US. So we're all set and ready to go here, and I'll keep this up as a reference if we want to change the voice. So what does this do? How does this work? We can look a little bit at the code, but let's first move to the main branch where I'm using the key. So what we're going to do is we're going to monitor the screenshot folder locally, which is in this main definition. So if you've cloned this locally, go here, line 237, and change this to your OneDrive or your C drive locally, wherever it is you're storing your screenshots. Okay? Now, so what happens is we get the latest screenshot, we process the screenshot, and what I'm also doing is creating some files. So you see some folder here, the text analysis, the screenshot itself, and the audio transcript. So we're going to get all three artifacts from this code for every screenshot we take. We're going to send the image with this wonderful prompt that you're currently analyzing a digital screenshot. Your task is to meticulously examine the visual elements and context presented in this image. Consider all visual details, including text, symbols, interface elements, and any discernible background features. Your goal is to generate a comprehensive description of the screenshot's contents. Provide insights into its possible purpose, the actions it depicts or prompts, and any underlying context or information it conveys. Employ your analytical capabilities to deduce and articulate the significance of the screenshot, offering interpretations and explanations that could assist a user in understanding its relevance and potential applications or implications. Approach this task with attention to detail and focus on delivering clear, informative, and useful analysis. So we're sending it the image to GPT-4o with that prompt in mind. Okay, so how do we get this going? Again, first I've made a virtual environment and I've done pip install requirements.txt, I think with a -r here to install the requirements. And then I can simply say Python screenspeak.py, and it's going to monitor new screenshots. So it's something fun. Let's actually go find a network topology. Since most of my audience is in the networking or IT field, we live and breathe and die by diagrams and topologies and Visio outputs, etc. So let's go find the Cisco Modeling Lab. Let's just give this a chance to load. And we're going to go to the Modeling Labs because I know they have this nice image we can load in a new image tab. Okay, so we're going to grab Snipping Tool and we're going to make a new screenshot of this topology. So here's our image. Now we're going to minimize, and I have it so it's already started processing the screenshot for one, and we're going to look in these three folders for the output. It's going to take a copy of the screenshot here, and here is the text analysis. Okay? Now, I really hope you can hear the audio because in a second, we're actually going to start, right, it's synthesizing the speech right now.
This screenshot
And you
depicts
can
a
see all the
detailed network
details about the
topology diagram,
VLANs
likely
and the
intended for network
networks
engineers or
and the
IT
hosts
professionals
and the
managing a complex
firewalls and
data
the
center
switches
or
and the
lab
routers.
environment.
It's
Here is a
incredible.
comprehensive
Now,
description and
here's the
analysis of the
audio,
visual elements and
and it
context
should be
within the
playing the
diagram.
audio. I hope
Diagram
you can hear
structure.
it.
1.
I'm not sure if
Title
I've
and
connected
labels. The diagram lacks a main title but contains
my
numerous
studio
labeled
to this.
components,
But it
indicating it
is
represents
a
a
nice
network
MP3
infrastructure
file
overview.
playing
2.
this
Components and
exact
connections.
script in
Routers.
just a few
The network
seconds.
contains multiple routers,
Now we can
indicated
let
by
this
icons
finish.
with
I'm
4
going to
arrows
cancel
pointing
it
out.
and kill it. And if we just start the service again, we can start analyzing screenshots. So let's try something different. Let's clean up a little bit here and delete some of this. And let's look at the code, actual code. So let's look at this runtime code. And we'll take a new screenshot here and just see what it says. Now, this is a simple little function that starts the monitoring and processing of the new screenshots in the directory. Now it's starting to process the screenshot. So we should get the screenshot and text analysis copies locally here in a second. And there is the image. And there is the text. And it defines it's a while loop, fetching latest screenshot, a conditional check, processing the screenshot. Really breaks down that image of the Python function that I had written, like a true assistant or co-programmer or co-pilot or paired programmer. Now it's synthesizing the speech.
The screenshot
And
depicts
here
a snippet
comes
of
the
Python
audio.
code
Again,
defining
I
a
hope
method
you can hear
named
it, but it's
run
starting to
within a
play this
class.
audio automatically.
Here is a detailed analysis of
So
its
let's
components
cancel this.
and potential
And for
functionality.
the interest of transparency, let's see how much this cost us. So let's jump back into the platform and go to the dashboard and see usage here. So for those two, it costs 15 cents. So about 7 cents to process the image and the text using the so-called paid version, the ChatGPT version. Now I want to be very clear, this is the absolute best model for both audio, the text-to-speech, and the image-to-text generation. In my opinion, it might be worth, depending on your use case, connecting this to the cloud and paying a monthly fee for this. Now let's switch out. And all I'm going to do to switch out here is, let me clean up my branch here, delete these files. And I'm going to switch from main into Ollama. Now I can open up a new terminal. I'm going to open up a new bash terminal. And I'm going to say Ollama list. Now it's not running. So I'm going to say Ollama start. And I'm going to open up a new console and say Ollama list. See how I have Llava here? 4.7 gigs. If you don't have it, you can say Ollama pull Llava. Okay? But since I have it, and now that Ollama's listening, and I'm in my Ollama branch, I can start the script up again and take another screenshot. Now I'm going to take this screenshot on purpose, and I'm trying to be transparent. I have nothing against Llava 3 or Ollama. However, it is not quite as good yet, and I'm going to say yet. So we're processing that screenshot now with the Llava 3 model. Now I'm also only running the 7 gigabit model. Maybe if I was running the 34 billion parameter model, it would be a little better. But here's the image. Here's the text that we got. So it does know routers, switches, servers, connections, IP addresses, network segments, subnets, switches. Right? So it's pretty good.
The image you've provided appears to be a network diagram or topology drawing.
Speech.
It shows a structured representation of a computer network,
which
typically includes nodes, like computers or servers, and connections between.
Good as the ChatGPT instance. So we've explored this a little bit. Use your imagination. Start taking screenshots of books, images online, topologies, terminal output, Python code, Ansible code. You're going to be quite surprised. So thank you again for paying attention and for joining me on this look into multimodal. I'll leave you again with the GitHub repository. So Automate Your Network is the GitHub account, and the repository here is Screen Speak. And that should have everything you need